Hey everyone, welcome back to Tuesdays with Theodore. The topic that we are covering this week is what our experiences have been like with being trans in a workplace environment or a school environment. And for me, I can only talk about what my experiences have been with a school environment because technically I've never actually had an official proper job before. School has kind of been up and down for me just in terms of having one school that I consistently go to. I've kind of been in and out of a bunch of different schools, and I've kind of unofficially dropped out a couple times. So I have a few different experiences from different schools that I've been attending since I've been out. The first school that I was at when I came out, just kind of in general to most of my friends and to my family, was a really small alternative school, and it was very binary based. There were a lot of programs that were divided into boys and girls. There was a boys yoga class and a girls yoga class, and a lot of the classes were split into boys and girls. So it was structured around a very rigid binary, which when I first came out, I came out as gender fluid, and I was strictly not identifying with the binary at all. I was strictly identifying as non-binary. So it kind of created a lot of personal within myself struggles because I was always categorized as a girl, and I didn't feel safe enough to come out and tell anyone at that school and try and take part in the boys' activities or try and get them to change anything or whatever. So that created a lot of struggle within myself, and it made it very uncomfortable for me to attend that school. The second school that I was at after I came out was it still exists. It's actually an LGBTQI plus focused school, and it's strictly for youth who are LGBTQI plus or allies, and it was supposed to be a really safe space. But unfortunately, my experience with it anyways was that it wasn't a very safe place for me because the teachers, there were two teachers, and they were both cis, and they didn't really place a lot of importance on people's pronouns, I guess, people who were trans. There was at least one incident that I remember that I can recall where they misgendered one of my friends behind their back while I was in the vicinity and within earshot, and they never stepped in while other students were misgendering other students, and it was a very uncomfortable situation for me because I was still that was still very soon after I came out, so I wasn't really I guess brave enough, or I wasn't I didn't really stand up to people when they misgendered me, and I didn't correct them very much, and I just kind of tried to let things slide. That school was really good for connecting with other people who were trans or LGBTQI+, and providing us with resources and other kind of drop-ins and support groups within the city that I might not have found out about without attending that school. And for the most part, people did ask your pronouns when they first met you, and whenever we did group activities, we run around in a circle and we said our names and our pronouns each time we did a new activity. I guess what I'm really trying to say is that it wasn't as safe of a space as it should have been due to some of the students and the teachers, but it did provide me with a lot more information and a lot more resources than I would have if I had never attended that school. It helped me really think about my gender more than I think I would have if I was just attending a regular public high school, because we did a lot of activities that focused on being LGBTQI+, which was kind of the point of the whole school. And the last school that I was at, I was only attending for a couple of months before I had to drop out due to mental health reasons, and it was actually a pretty positive experience. I was at that school before I came out a couple of years ago, and then I transferred back in for the beginning of this school year. And I don't really have any negative things to say about being trans. I wasn't faced with really any discrimination or ignorance or harassment or anything. There are a lot of trans people at that school, and there are a lot of just kind of in general not cishet people at that school. And I was actually taking a gender studies course at that school as well, which was really great because it explored a lot of non-binary genders, which was something completely new to the school education system, I think. And I know before I left, we were kind of pushing for a gender neutral or an all-gendered bathroom at that school, and I have no idea where that went, but I know the principal was totally on board with it, so hopefully that has gone somewhere. I think I'm getting off topic. I definitely wasn't the only trans person at that school, and I definitely wasn't the only non-binary trans person at that school. And just thinking about that gender studies course, there were, I think, at least 3 or 4 other people who were openly out as non-binary. I have no idea what I'm trying to say, but that school was a fairly positive experience for the time that I was there. I know I was only there for a very short while, but it was a positive experience from what I experienced. I just repeated myself like 4 times. Good job. And I think that's all that I have to say for today. I feel like I rambled and repeated myself a bunch, which I think is what I always do. Oops. But I'll see you guys next week. Bye.